Hi guys, welcome to a new video. This is the final part of the C12 review from Cammus, and I've had it for about a week now, and I've been using it lots across different titles, and I feel ready to share with you what I've found. And there's a couple of little neat things I found about the wheel in the software, and so yeah. Disclosure, Cammus did send me this for review, and they don't have any say in what I say. So this is just going to be my own thoughts from what I've experienced so far. And there is a link, an affiliate link in the description where you can get 5% off. Or you can use code Danny Moffat at the checkout to get the 5% as well. So, right, let's have a look at the software. So here we are. Now we are in. Let's start at the top. So just like the C5, we're using the same software, and it picks up the base and the wheel separately. And then if we go down to parameters, these are the wheelbase settings. I've just left the natural damping on 15%. I think that's just right to just give you a slightly weighty feel when you're parked up, and it doesn't interfere with the way the car feels when you're at speed. So yeah, 15% seems just right for me. I left these off. You don't need the idle spring, and I prefer the feel of it without these. It's more of a raw force feedback feel. So just like the C5, this is where I ended up. And game effects, I haven't really tweaked these. I've left them as they are to try all the different titles to see how consistent they feel. Like if you use the same car across different platforms, and it's very consistent. So it's a bit like when you're using Fanatec base. All the different sims feel quite kind of close to each other in how the cars feel. So yeah, I've just left them like you see there. And then this assistance thing, I don't like the having this on at all. I much prefer it without it. I don't use anything like this on my SimiQ base. And so what it does, if you were to just crank that up, what happens is it's going to add the damping weighty feel more as you go faster. So say you're going 120 mile an hour, and you go to you give it a good jab of the throttle, and you get the back end out. As the back end starts to step out, the wheels should start to feel light as the back of the car starts to rotate around the front wheels. And when you have um, the stability assist on, which is adding damping at speed, the car feels that point where it's meant to feel light, it makes it feel heavier, and I just prefer none of that at all. It feels absolutely brilliant just leaving that off. So here we've got the hands-off protection. I always leave that off. End stop strength. So if you look when it's on hard, I hit the end stop. It's got a bit of a bounce to it. I found the medium setting to be more. It feels more like a real car when you go on full lock in your road car. So I left that on medium. Now let's go to devices. Now, so let's just check on the steering wheel. So this is just where you can check your inputs and make sure that everything is working. And then in dashboard, there's quite a few things you can do here. So you've got the brightness of the. This changes just the brightness of the display. I found 5 is fine. I don't want it too bright to the point where it's distracting. And then where it says show mode, when they first released the base, if you had it on gear and you changed gear, when you got to neutral, it used to say 0, and if you went to reverse, it would say -1. Doesn't do that now. It says N for neutral and R for reverse. So they have sorted that. And I just leave it on speed in miles per hour because it'll be displayed the speed, but it'll also, when you shift up, it'll briefly show the gear that you've just shifted into. So I like the fact that it does both. That's what I've left it on. Then RPM lights, these are, you should be able to see it. You can change these presets to however you want, whatever colors you want for these. I generally just leave it either on preset 1 or preset 2. But if you want to change individual LEDs, you've got the whole color palette there available to you. And then you can save them to one of these custom profiles. So that's something you can do. You've got 3. Button lights, I've got them all set to purple at the moment. There's presets, so you can have them set to blue. And then if I change them back to purple, you can see that. Preset 4 is that. And if you want to, you can, again, make your own, save it to a custom profile. But something that I did figure out, and it was completely by accident. So you've got your lower rotaries. Now, if I go back now to show you the wheel, you see they're blue at the moment. Now, if you hold this right rotary down and turn it, it changes within different presets. So it goes to blue, red, green, and then it will return back to whatever preset you've got on there. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of cool. Just literally just found that by accident. So below that we have signal lights. So these are your flag lights. Now, if I go back to my preset, so I've made a custom profile here. Now, each flag on each side has 3 individual LEDs, and this is how these correspond. This is the left side. You have 3 LEDs for the left side, and then 3 LEDs for the right side. So you can click on them individually to pick the color that you want, and then you click the drop down menu to select what you want to set that color off. So I have both sides, I have one purple to show the pit. It's not pit limiter, it's showing when you're in the pit. And then the middle LED of each one is set to TC, so when the traction control's kicking in, that'll come on. And then ABS is green for the 2 LEDs on the right. So that's what you do with that, and I saved it as a custom. So the knobs, these are in relation to the top rotaries. You can change them from a multi-position switch to an encoder. I just leave them as a regular encoder. I'm not too fussed about having multi-position switches, and not all sim titles support multi-position switches anyway. You can do the sound effect on wheel startup. So let me just switch the wheel off, and I'll just change the camera. So just like the C5, I recommended not ever putting your hand through the wheel to reach for the power button. The same goes for this. So you hold it for 3 seconds or so to turn it off. Now it's gone off now. So now if I put this on, it's just one short press. And then you'll see that when it spins round, it spins quite quick. So you don't want to put your hand through a wheel. This goes for any round wheel. Just you don't need to put your hand through there, especially with a direct drive. You know, it's not good if you do that. So try and avoid that. It's easy to just reach around and feel for the power button. Right. So we've gone through the device menu, and then this is the update. It's exactly the same as the C5 software. You don't even have to install any software for this if you're going from a C5 to a C12. You just put the wheelbase on and it's just there, just detects it. So I've opted into the beta firmware if there's any released, so I'm up to date on both of them. yeah, and that's that. So, tell you what, let's jump in for a little drive on ACC. Right, so here we are in ACC. Let's go for a little drive. Start the engine. So the detail you feel from this is absolutely excellent. It's right up there with other more expensive wheelbases. And the shifters, I haven't silenced them with any felt pads because I just love the feel of them. I probably will do at some point, but these are some of the better shifters that I've used. The amount of strength you need to pull them is right in the middle between Cube Control shifters and Fanatec, the V2.5 shifters. So they're not too stiff to pull, they're not too light. The amount of travel to shift is just a nice amount of travel. Yeah, they just feel like great shifters all around, and they have worked flawlessly. They haven't missed a shift. So the rumble strips you feel really defined. And it does a pretty good job of letting you feel understeer and detail from rumble strips at the same time. So the thumb encoders, which I have set to ABS, so it's TC1 and TC2. They're nice enough to reach with your thumb, but also they're in just the right position to use your middle finger to change. And that's how I press it as well. I use the button press part of them for Discord, you know, for deafen and mute. But yeah, deafen and mute. So I don't use my thumb for doing that. I've got quite big thumbs, so I mean you can do. It does work. You know, I'm pressing it now, but I find it's easy just to use your finger. I'm still using the same desk clamp that you use for the C5, and there is no movement in it whatsoever, so absolutely solidly mounted. The only kind of flex I have in this is if I push forward and back a little bit, it's a tiny bit of movement, but that's not the wheelbase, that's the rig. Because the wheel deck on this rig is relatively thin. So slew rate wise, I don't know what the numbers are, but it feels really fast. And for drifting, letting the wheels slip through your hands works really well. And it's been great for rallying too. And yeah, I mean, everything just works. It's yeah, I'm absolutely made up with it.
mate. That's all best.
Yeah, so there we go. I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover. So I'm just going to keep on using this now, and then in say a month or so, any updates that have happened, anything that changes about it, and I'll have a real good mess in the software with each sim title, and I'll probably do a follow up after a month just to let you know where I'm at with any settings. But yeah, straight out the box, absolutely brilliant, and I would genuinely be happy if I had bought this with my own money, because the 300mm wheel is just good for everything. So versatility wise, if I had to have a wheelbase forever and I was told it was this, I'd be happy with it and genuinely enjoying it. So yeah, hopefully I've covered everything. If you got any questions, just ask them in the comments. So thank you very much for coming, and I shall speak to you soon. So take care. Thanks, guys. Bye.